several times a week. Her stomach churned just thinking about him hugging some model or actress. Trav was the most charming, good-looking man she'd ever been around, and though the divorce had been final since shortly after Preston's birth 8 years ago, she didn't know that she'd ever heal from loving him. She was finally doing good, dating Duke, a nice cowboy who made her smile and shared her passion for ranching and horses. She couldn't allow herself to be swept into Trav's smile again. They made it through security quickly, with Preston joking with the security guards, just like Trav would have done. Preston took her hand and skipped by her side as they got in the back of a very long line for the keycards. "You excited?" she asked, though the answer was obvious. "This is going to be the best time of my life, Mama. Our first family vacation." He beamed. Alicia didn't have the heart to tell him they weren't a family. Not with Trav, at least. She and Preston were a family, and Preston and Trav were a family, but not everyone together. But what did an 8-year-old understand about divorce and broken dreams and hearts? This cruise was Preston's dream, and she was going to make the best of it, no matter how terrified she was to spend 7 days with Trav. Preston had enough heart issues of his own to deal with. She could make it through 7 days with her ex-husband. "There's my boy." Trav's voice rang out across the room, and everyone in the line turned. She could already hear the murmurs of, "That's Travis Polson." "Daddy!" Preston dropped his backpack at her feet and flew into Trav's arms. The sight of them together made Alicia feel like she was at Disneyland, truly the happiest moment on earth. She'd seen her 2 dark-haired boys together in pictures and on television, but never in real life. A smile stretched across her face, but at the same time, she wanted to cry at all they'd lost. If only she could keep this moment in her mind always. Trav lifted their son up high, the muscles in his arms bulging. He'd always been lean and fit, but he'd gotten even stronger since she'd seen him last. They turned her way, and their identical fudge-colored eyes sparkled at her. Preston looked far too much like his dad, with the dark brown hair and eyes, smooth tanned skin, and distinctive full lips. Alicia drew in a breath. All Preston needed was the perfectly trimmed black beard and for his face to mold into the manly lines that Trav had. Stop. She shouldn't be thinking about how good-looking her ex-husband was right now. "Mom, I found him," Preston called out happily. Trav carried Preston her direction. Their son was growing up. Alicia couldn't have carried him like that, but it looked effortless for Trav. Her ex-husband's eyes swept over her, and he gave her his megawatt smile. It was the same smile he flashed at every woman and every crowd, but she couldn't help but believe that his eyes didn't shine like that for anyone else. Oh my, she was a dumb sap, and they hadn't even boarded the boat yet. How was she going to make it through this family vacation? Preston deserved this, had been begging for it for years, but it didn't make it any easier on her. Allie? Trav said her nickname like she was royalty. He'd always treated her like gold, if you didn't count the cheating. Not with a woman, but he'd been married to his car. If he was to be believed, he hadn't physically cheated with his assistant Holly, but he definitely had emotionally. She wondered if they were a couple now. If so, Holly didn't seem to mind sharing him with models, actresses, and wealthy social climbers. "It's been too long," Trav said. "You were even more beautiful than the last time I saw you." Alicia's spine straightened. She looked over his chiseled jawline, straight nose, full lips, that skin any woman would die for, and those dark eyes. She could easily return the compliment, but she wasn't going to be sweet-talked by him, and it was smart to start off the week with him knowing that. "I'm sure I'm not half as beautiful as the model you're dating this week. What was her name? Tiffany?"